Howie Roseman just pulled off the fleece of the Eagles offseason, getting rid of his biggest mistake and opening the door for the Birds' next move, which might have been hinted at following a new revelation from one NFL insider this morning. Plus, why the media is after Jalen and A.J. Brown again, and how OTAs have changed my mind on the Birds' secondary. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Well, the never-ending saga that was the Bryce Huff experience in Philadelphia is officially over, as ESPN's Adam Schefter just announced today a blockbuster trade which will send Bryce Huff to the 49ers to reunite the former Jet with his old head coach in San Francisco's new DC, Robert Saleh. In order to do this, the Philadelphia Eagles declined Bryce Huff's $15.58 million fully guaranteed option bonus, which turned into base salary. Philadelphia then turned $9.05 million of that base salary into a signing bonus, which allows San Francisco to take on the remaining money, $7.95 million. Which in sum saves Philadelphia about $7.95 million in cash and creates north of $15 million in 2025, this year's cap space. Oh, and they also get a mid-round draft pick in exchange for Bryce Huff, so they save a ton of money, get rid of a bad player, and get a draft pick in exchange. Absolutely unreal. Also, quick giveaway PSA, I mentioned on the previous video, I would do this, the signed Philly Dogs football, if that video got to 60,000 views. Almost got there, didn't quite, so I'm gonna give you a second chance to enter by dropping a like and leaving a comment, and then no matter how many views this video gets, we're giving this bad boy away to be announced on my first video next week, so good luck. Now let's be clear, Howie Roseman absolutely cooked with this trade. Not only did he get rid of the headache that was Huff off his hands, he's also saving a ton of cash, as we mentioned, this year, but also the next 2 seasons as well. They're not going to have to pay Bryce Huff that ridiculous contract. And that was the biggest concern with getting rid of Bryce Huff. I really thought they would not find a trade partner for him because he cost so much money, did nothing last year, and so you'd have to just cut him and eat a giant loss and just say, okay, we made a mistake, let's go ahead and move on. Yet Howie Roseman was able to find the one person in the entire NFL in Robert Saleh who for some reason still believes in his former player in Bryce Huff, get a trade, save money, get a draft pick out of it. Again, I say fleece. This is an absolute fleece of a trade. And the other factor is, there's a real scenario where Bryce Huff is the same bad player he was in 2024 with the Birds as he will be with the Niners in 2025, meaning the Eagles just set their NFC rival back even further cap-wise and also roster-wise than they already were. It's moves like this that make Howie Roseman so darn special. He has this aura and persona just for this exact reason. Even bad moves that he makes turn out to be good in the end. Bryce Huff is going to go down as one of Howie Roseman's most recent major misses, alongside the way too expensive contract extension of James Bradberry, which does technically prove that Howie Roseman is human, does make mistakes, and is not infallible. Well, the wildest part of all of this is that despite missing on their premier free agent in 2024, the Birds' defense and their pass rush still dominated Patrick Mahomes and won a Super Bowl. Plus, on the whole Bradberry front, that failure resulted in Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Never count out Howie Roseman even when he misses a couple of shots. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Mudwater. I didn't drink any coffee like my entire life until I got out of college and then I became addicted to coffee, but the problem is it causes headaches and gut issues and weird jitters, and so I recently had to go ahead and drop coffee. But then about a month ago, I found Mudwater, and it's basically the same thing, just with way better ingredients and zero of the side effects. It's got a fraction of the caffeine, around 35 milligrams, so you still get a little lift, but no crash, no anxiety, and you can actually sleep at night. And you can make it a ton of different ways, like A, regular coffee, just add hot water, or how about adding your favorite milk, honey, or sweetener? Personally, I've been adding a scoop into my morning smoothie, which gives me a great taste, kind of a coffee meets chai vibe. It's become a daily pick-me-up. It's also loaded with all the good stuff, lion's mane, cordyceps, ricey, chaga, all to help support focus, energy, and immunity, and it's completely sugar-free, made with clean, organic ingredients. And whether you're like me, who likes the regular Mudwater, or my wife, who loves the matcha, either of them are fantastic, you gotta try them out. So if you want to upgrade your morning ritual with Mudwater, well, click the link down below in my description box or scan the QR code over here and use my code ThomasMott to get 15% off your starter kit plus a free frother. Trust me, try Mudwater, you're going to love it. Now, I know what you're wondering. Thomas, what will Howie Roseman do with this newfound free agent cap space? Because with Huff officially gone and some other roster clearings post-June 1, Philadelphia likely right now has over $45 million in cap space at this moment, which, as you know, leaves the door open for a multitude of currently disgruntled players potentially to be moved to Philadelphia, one of which could be the tight end Kyle Pitts, who, according to Jordan Schultz earlier this morning, have had teams reach out the past few days on the availability of tight end Kyle Pitts, knowing it would take at least a day 2 pick to even spark serious talks. Now, I will say this, Pitts is probably the most polarizing name on the Falcons in Atlanta the past couple of seasons, and a very tricky trade target to go ahead and bring up. On one hand, he's a Philadelphia native, and the Birds have like 50 day 2 draft picks next April, so actually acquiring him wouldn't be that hard. He's also about to head into the final year of his contract, followed by a 2026 free agency. Despite the Birds bringing back Dallas Goedert for one more season, they could try out Pitts to see if the much younger tight end could find his footing in Philadelphia and then garner a brand new deal. I mean, right now, Philadelphia's tight end depth chart has virtually nobody signed for the next season. They got a bunch of people on one-year deals, but who's going to be here for the long run? Now, of course, Pitts' big problem has been production during his time as a Falcon, amassing 1,000 yards right out of the gate his rookie season before never accounting for more than 55 catches and 4 touchdowns the ensuing 3. If he pans out, then you get a former top 5 pick with assumed top 5 talent. If he doesn't, though, then you pay him very little money on a rookie deal here in 2025 and let him walk for virtually nothing in 2026 during free agency. Other names I keep my eye on, let's say Trey Hendrickson and Jalen Ramsey, both of which have some serious baggage. Yes, age, cost, massive contracts, and in Ramsey's case, his relationship with Vic Fangio. But again, if there is a world where the Bryce Huff move was designed to give Howie Roseman the ammo he wanted to make another big splash, they technically have the ability to go ahead and do that now. And in Ramsey's case, even if Philadelphia doesn't get him, I still 100% believe in Howie and definitely Quinyon Mitchell as QB1 going forward. Now, speaking of Quinyon Mitchell, and a lot of people were pretty pumped following Wednesday's practice about this idea of the second-year cornerback actually starting to travel with the opposing team's top receivers based on these comments made to the media just a couple of days ago.
Oh, no, I've been working both. I've been working on both sides, so just get my feet wet on both sides.
Now, yes, that does sound like Q might be working on the other side, aka he could be working on traveling. We don't know for sure, though. Take it with a grain of salt, but let's say it's true, it's definitely a big deal. Remember, Philadelphia's wide open position battle for the other starting cornerback spot right now is between DeJean, Adoree Jackson, and Kelee Ringo. Technically, Q's movement around the Birds' defense early could simply be trying to ensure that whoever wins the job opposite of him get to choose their preferred side. The Eagles having enough faith in Mitchell to move him to the other side if that's the case. But if you do think Q is referring to actually shadowing receivers, then I would agree it's got to be the next evolution in his progress to becoming a number 1 cornerback. And the Birds' current DB coach, Christian Parker, is probably behind the idea, mainly due to his success in getting Patrick Surtain, his former pupil, to not only shadow opposing wide receivers, but also become, right now, the number 1 corner in the NFL. And let's be honest, the Eagles' opening schedule this coming fall is going to be a massive test for Quinyon Mitchell and the Birds' secondary, with games against CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, Malik Neighbors, and Justin Jefferson. Right now, the Birds' secondary is the lone weakness on this team. Hole at safety, probably Sidney Brown, and obviously hole at cornerback, ongoing battle, more on that in a second. But if Quinyon Mitchell takes that next step, shadow or not, this defense is going to be so much better than people realize. And I'll keep saying it, I think it's going to be better than it was in 2024, this year in 2025. Which does lead well into the point about new free agent addition Adoree Jackson, who surprised a lot of people earlier this week when he got the start at cornerback at OTAs over Kelee Ringo. Despite Ringo obviously being an Eagle longer, seemingly being the heir to the starting cornerback throne post-Darius Slay. And while listen, I say this every single show the past couple of days, it's OTAs, things can change really quick. Maybe Adoree Jackson wins the job, but I must point out to you that last season, OTAs and in training camp, Devin White started at linebacker literally the entire time over Nakobe Dean. Like all of camp, he was LB1 alongside Zach Bond. Until he was a scratch in the Birds season opener, Dean took over and dominated, and of course, never saw the football field again. So yes, Adoree Jackson has the leg up right now. He's gotten the majority of the starter reps. They have mixed people in as they do at OTAs, but what do we say? Take it with a massive grain of salt. I'm not convinced Adoree Jackson's winning the job just yet. I think the funniest trend about last season was this whole debate about the Eagles' offense, and if it was Nick Sirianni who was really in control, or Kellen Moore, or even Jalen Hurts. Anytime the Eagles would have a good offensive game, we'd praise one specific person, and then naturally when they would struggle, we would blame someone else. Well, just 3 days into Eagles OTAs, and people are trying to do this whole thing again, all thanks to LaShawn Shady McCoy. Shady had a very recent clip on FS1 Speak where he kind of spilled the beans and had some inside information he should not have let out.
Players tell me that the offense is really the offense. No doubt. They don't care who the corner is. You come over here to fit the Jalen Hurts offense. No doubt.
Is that supposed to be a bad thing? Like, why is Twitter going absolutely nuts about this clip? Shouldn't every franchise run the offensive system that best fits their quarterback? Us Eagle fans have been saying this Hurts' entire career. He was the system, and Philadelphia had to slowly mold their offense to highlight his strengths, from, say, the run-heavy early years to the more balanced attack of these Super Bowl campaigns. Plus, I'll just say it, Shady McCoy probably should not have actually said this on national television because very clearly he talks to A.J. Brown and other Eagle players, but I'm pretty sure they talk to him in confidence, and so if someone tells you, hey, this is what's going on, but don't speak about it, don't go ahead and say it on FS1 another day later. Just for instance, as an example, Josh Davis and I were told behind the scenes the actual story that led to C.J. Gardner-Johnson getting traded. I've said this multiple times on the channel. I could tell you right now and make it a big story and probably get a lot of free press, but of course we were actually told that story in confidence, so we've chosen to respect that. Plus, either way, I don't see this as a big deal whether you think Jalen Hurts is a problem or think he's the solution. The Eagles offense, run by Jalen or not, won a Super Bowl last season for crying out loud. Honestly, I take an offense run by Air Bud's owner if it meant we'd win another Super Bowl. But the one unintentional consequence of what Shady just said is the undermining of Kevin Patullo, who not only just got the Eagles job, but also just had his first press conference, which was a great example of Patullo confirming they want to build on Jalen Hurts' strengths and keep him progressing in the right direction, all while adding some new wrinkles to the offense. And to be fair, Patullo all but confirmed everything said during his Wednesday press conference, emphasizing they will do what fits their players best.
I think it's going to be like, what do our players do best, like it's been? And then from there, we just expand upon it. Hey, we're really good at this. Let's bring this to the table and try this and see where we can take it. And I think really when you look at just our staff as a whole, we've added some new coaches, so they bring some other layers to it too, and then the knowledge of what they have from their background. So I think as we go forward, as we build this thing together as a staff, you'll see some new wrinkles here and there, but more so it's just kind of building on what our players do best.
I think as long as Jalen Hurts is the quarterback, the Eagles offense is going to have controversy because you have all these superstars, all these weapons, and yet at some times, the past couple of years, they have struggled. But putting this all on Jalen Hurts because, I don't know, he wants to run the offense or can't run other people's offense, to me is absolutely ridiculous. And again, they just won a Super Bowl. So I think Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, the entire offense gets a massive benefit of the doubt and gets plenty of time to go ahead and relearn what's kind of a new offense, but not really a new offense under Kevin Patullo. Let's judge them for their actual on-the-field performances when we get to the season and not worry about where they're at this point in the OTAs. Now, Philadelphia did practice today for day 3 of OTAs, although it was another closed practice, and so no media, no breakdowns, nothing to really go ahead and take anything from. But they will be practicing 2 more times next week. One of those is guaranteed to have an open media practice, and so obviously we'll cover everything that happens. Be sure to subscribe because this signed football, which, fun fact, is actually signed by Jordan Davis twice. I think he kind of missed the fact that he signed it here, and then he went ahead and signed it here, but it has Nakobe Dean and Nolan Smith, so 2 Jordan Davis signatures, makes it unique. I will announce the winner for this one. Anyone who commented on the previous 2 shows can technically be eligible. That'll be given away the first show next week, probably Monday, could be Tuesday though, but the first one will have the winner, so stay tuned for that. I'm Thomas Mott, hanging out here, getting ready for the weekend. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.